Hello, everyone. The following presentation, The Ethics of Plagiarism, serves to inform and explain um, questions regarding issues of plagiarism, right, or the topic of plagiarism. Now, I do label it the ethics of plagiarism because quite often there's confusion about which way the scale balances in the rights of plagiarism and the wrongs of plagiarism. Does that mean that if I plagiarize, I'm entirely wrong? Well, that's the purpose of this presentation. We're going to understand what forms of writing are a type of plagiarism. In essence, if you plagiarize, you're committing wrong. So the ethics of it is when can I rightfully say something or write something or perform something? So let's begin. Let's begin on this ethics of plagiarism. And let's start with the question, what is plagiarism? Now, before I go any further, I'd like to acknowledge that the majority of my information, maybe a slight couple of angles that are not from this website, but the majority of my information is taken from a great source called plagiarism.org. You can refer to the site for further information, commentary, discussions, um, 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 responses to further questions that I might not be addressing here in this initial presentation. So keep that in mind. You know, I'm not the only source that you can refer to, and I'm taking a lot of information from this website here, and I'm hoping to clarify some of it. So let's begin. Let's begin. The New Oxford American Dictionary states that plagiarism is the practice of taking someone else's work or ideas and passing them off as one's own. So let's clarify. Let's see. The practice of taking someone else's work or ideas and passing them off as one's own. It's a very direct definition. It's not very interpretive, right? And it's just to be honest, it is what it is. If I take someone else's work and I tell you, look at my product, look at my writing, look at my song, etc. I feverishly worked over it in the night. I didn't sleep very much. I sacrificed and invested a great deal of time. I hope you like it, and and you sell it off as your own. And later on, it's discovered that it's not, especially if somebody's getting economic benefit out of it. Then you're going to be in severe trouble because it's very much this act of taking someone else's work or ideas and claiming that it's yours. So that's plagiarism, right? Merriam-Webster Online Dictionary has several definitions. Let's look at a couple of what they say, a couple of definitions of what this dictionary says it is, and try to understand it further. So the first says to steal. It's a very hefty word, right? To steal and pass off the ideas or words of another as one's own. So if I'm claiming to be a writer, um, in whatever genre or whatever capacity, either journalism or creative writing, you know, podcast, webcast, and I come off and I show you this work, I show you this writing, and you say, "Wow, that's great work. It's really informative. It's artistic. It's innovative. I like the way you word things. Great stuff." And I get credit for it, especially in academics, right? When a teacher assigns an essay or assigns a short answer or an assignment, and you go off into the net, or someone goes off into the net, right? And copies and pastes the response on there and says, voila, here's my essay. Hope you like it, right? Well, give me a grade for it. Well, if you do that and it's later discovered that it's not yours, or that many of the ideas, even if you don't use the words exactly as written on the web or another document or something, even if you don't do that and you say, it's my work, look, I didn't write it exactly. Well, the idea is still not yours. I know that's heavy because sometimes we think we'll come up with something, right? And you know what? In that sense, it's tricky because uh, maybe you did come up with a great idea. You didn't know it was out there. But here's the issue. When you come up with the idea and you start writing about it from scratch, then undoubtedly those words are going to come out uh, very, very fresh and original because you're not grasping them from anywhere. But if you go off and you read somebody else's ideas somewhere else, and you do intend to put them off as your own, changing the wording, the structure, what have you, that might be more difficult, right? Um, so, what's the solution? Well, if you know it's an idea that's out there and you know it's not yours, and you know it is a great idea, and you still want to use it, that's fine. You just simply have to credit the source, right? Quotation marks, paraphrasing with proper citations. Whatever it is you need to do, make sure you credit the original author. Another definition is use another's production to use without crediting the source, right? Use another's production without crediting the source. Um, this could be a performance. This could be a film. It could be a poem. It could be a song, right? A few years ago, several years ago, Coldplay, I think the song was, don't quote me on this, but I believe the song was Viva la Vida. And, you know, you heard it on the radio quite a bit. Coldplay's a big band, big group. And I'm sure they got lots of credit for that song, certainly getting money off of that song. Well, the musician responsible for the music, the musical composition, his name was Joe Satriani, and he heard the song and says, "Look, that's mine." And he took him to court, put a lawsuit on them. He won, and when the judge, even though it was in litigation, the judge or the parties that be that were hearing the song said, "I'm sorry, but that musical composition is not yours, Coldplay." And they had to turn over all the rights and basically, um, all the uh, earnings, I suppose, from that song over to Joe Satriani. So you can't just take another production. And if you hear Joe Satriani's song and Coldplay's song, it is different. But the composition, the melody, it's certainly there, and you could easily see that it wasn't Coldplay. So use somebody else's production without crediting the source, then then there's going to be complications and there's going to be conflict. Um, Coldplay, I imagine, could have asked for permission and said, "Hey, we love your tune. Can we do a rendition of it?" And I guarantee you, Joe Satriani seems like a nice guy, and I don't know what he would say, but it would have been much easier for Coldplay to, you know, um, promote the song this way. Another definition is to commit literary theft: poetry, literature, novels, essays. Um, so if you get an essay or what have you, or rather, say you're in a creative writing class, and the professor says submit your creative compositions, and I'm having trouble coming up with a clever poem, and I go to the Indiana Review magazine and I see some, I go all the way to, maybe, I don't know, maybe hopefully they have journals back in the 1940s, 1950s, and I see a couple of poetry lines there. I'm not sure if they go that far back, but I'm just assuming here. And I see some poems from that year, and it's, oh, the professor's never going to know that this is not mine. And I take that poem and I submit it as my own. Well, you got to be careful, especially now in the virtual world, because I can take any form of writing, put it on the net, and the net will go through a lot of databases, thousands of databases, and try to discover where the source is coming from. And more often than not, they're going to reveal where you're getting the information from. So look at the words that we've read across some of these definitions: steal, theft, passes your own, right? So I'm hoping it's coming across what plagiarism is, right? It's a type of stealing. Here's this one: to present as new and original an idea or product derived from an existing source. You don't want to take an idea that's somebody else's and say, um, this idea is mine. I was the original creator of this idea. Because again, if you do that, there's going to be severe consequences. So it's okay to take somebody else's ideas. You simply cannot say that in original terms, it's yours, right? Um, Einstein, really famous scientists, right? Real famous scientists, one of those brilliant minds that a lot of people have accredited him as one of the most brilliant minds of all time. And he has, I'm not quoting him directly, but he says, for the most part, he says, um, great knowledge is the product of clever stealing. Now, he's not promoting stealing, of course. What he's saying is, I would have not been able to create my own ideas were it not have been for another idea. And he's right. We over time we scaffold, we build upon, another idea, and then another idea, and another idea. If you do that, then uh, you're gonna be a great. It's gonna be great, right? We need to do that. We simply need to give credit where credit is due. Okay. Um, okay. So again, the website plagiarism.org, great website, and they have this question: can words and ideas really be stolen? And then we just went some of the definitions, and the easy answer is, of course. We just discuss it? But I think what it's getting at is ideas aren't physical. It's not like a computer or cell phone or car or code or anything like that, right? So if it's not physical, can I really steal something that is not physical? And the answer is, according to the U.S. law, yes, absolutely. And one of the biggest debates out there was the battle between Edison and Tesla. And a lot of people say Edison stole a lot of great ideas from Tesla. And at least in his lifetime, Tesla's lifetime, wasn't really credited with the genius that he is, so to speak. But that's a different discussion. I don't know the intricate details of that the ideas of Edison, the ideas of Nikola Tesla. But according to U.S. law, the answer is yes. You take an idea and you mold it your way, then you can be in trouble. Uh, Also, the expression of original ideas is considered intellectual property. So even if it's not material or physical, it is a type of property, and it is protected by copyright law. So all forms of expression, they fall under copyright protection as long as they're recorded. That's important. If I come up with an idea, I never record it. I never, make it, I don't put it in writing or make a file or anything. Somebody else might come up with it, or somebody else might hear it, claim it as their own, and I might lose an opportunity. So if you take something that is recorded, then there's consequences there, and you just have to be careful. I hope this helps you. So it's a very brief presentation. I can't cover everything about plagiarism in one presentation. So I encourage you, watch the next video and we'll look at a couple of examples and we'll keep furthering this discussion of plagiarism. Again, I hope this helps. and I encourage you to watch video 2. Okay, thank you.